DreamHack Masters Malmö is brought to you by Aces ROG, HyperX, and Monster Energy.
Ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in. As the sun does set here in Malmö and our first day does draw to a close, more teams are on the chopping block. Some unlikely suspects along the way as well. We have got some of the world's greatest and indeed some of the latest roster shuffles here in Sweden. Now we get a chance to see exactly who is going home. Already we've waved goodbye to the Virtus Pro, a bit of a surprise. Boot have been kicked as well. Cloud9 took them home. And now we have an opportunity to see if FaZe or mouz Sports are going to be sent packing as well. It is brutal, absolutely, and there is a lot to be discussed. Fortunately, I have some of the very greatest minds to be picking, or at least one of them. Chad, how you doing, man? I'm joking. I'm only messing.
All right,
we have Sponge. Don't you put the pen away?
Don't.
We have the lovely Sponge. We have Pimp, and we have, of course, Vendetta as well. I get to do predictions as well now. So, Machine, hi. Let's talk about this one, guys. This is an intriguing one for so many different reasons. First of all, 10 different nationalities in the server. That's a lot of fun. This is like the new era of Counter-Strike, it seems, where we've moved away from you have to be from the same country. We're no longer going to be saying the Danes versus the French, or at least maybe not so much.
You got a slight technicality there, Alex. You're lucky LMBT saves you by the coaching position. Otherwise, you'd be wrong. There's only 9 because Oscar and Guardian are from the same place.
I thought Oscar was Czech.
Yeah, Oscar's from Czech, but
I'm wrong.
What about Stico and Guardian?
There you go. That's what I meant.
Yeah, there we go.
I knew
Stico and Guardian are Slovakian.
I just mixed up the names. But you know what's interesting about this matchup? It's FaZe and Mini FaZe. These two teams have like a very similar storyline as of late, and they're both international rosters that have to speak English. And recently, they both made an upgrades of 2 players that they had, right? Sunny and Stico coming in, replacing Dennis and Lau. You consider those upgrades. And for FaZe, on the other side, we already touched on it. Guardian and Olaf coming in for Alu and Keo are both upgrades as well. But just sticking with that mouz thread for a second there, I think Sunny is the very interesting pickup here because this kid, he was in Penta. He was looking like the carry for that team. Looks like he had a lot of potential. He's Finnish. We know what Alu has been able to do in the past, so it's exciting for this kid to be coming through the next one of the ranks, the next Finnish player to really be catching our eye. And within this team, mouz. Yeah, and for him to come to mouz Sports, yeah, exactly. That just clicks with me. I apologize, I'm a little bit slow in the afternoons. We're getting old, but I think that he's like a chance to be a star player in this team alongside Oscar because they don't. Well, Rops as well. Those 3 could be like the trio in this squad that are very dangerous going forward.
I think what's interesting as well is that Sunny has been around for quite a while. I mean, like, Natsu's been playing with him way back. I remember seeing those guys in a server together, and now he's getting his shot in the limelight and could come crashing down quite quickly, admittedly. But I mean, what do you make of Sunny as a player? You've probably casted, he's been on your radar for a while.
Played with him.
Played with him.
Yeah.
Drop some knowledge bombs.
No, it's like he's always been an extremely consistent and solid player. And whenever we played versus him either, which is not as fun, you know, you kind of feel the wrath of how just a solid mechanical player he is. I actually never really understood why he was never a part of the clique of 6 to 7 players in Finland who ended up in teams together. If you look at like the old 3D Max lineups and that kind of stuff, whether they valued experience over that. Obviously, it's kind of hard to get experience if you never get a shot.
Is it because he's a ginger?
Oh, what's the real theory?
I wasn't gonna go there, but now that it's out there, who knows?
Anything's possible.
Yeah. We'll have to ask you about that at some point. No, but it's kind of weird to me because the individual skill was always there. He was always the kind of guy who was just doming heads left and right and just had an insanely high peak level. So it's fun to see that he's finally getting his chance to shine, really. And the fact that he goes into mouz Sports as well, which is kind of where Alu made his mark on the CS scene as well, on an international level in that sense, is fun.
Alongside him, though, is Stico. And this one took me a bit by surprise just to see him depart From Hellraisers, yeah. I mean, the Angel and the gang kind of seemed to have something going. There was something brewing. The Sticko and Zero duo, something we talked about, but it's also not necessarily a player that's on the tip of your tongue when you think about exciting new blood to throw into a roster.
But this was the thing that surprised me, because you talked about how, yeah, no, they've gone the same route of FaZe in terms of picking up 2 players that you would regard as an upgrade. I'm kind of on the fence whether or not. Obviously, it depends on who you line them up against. First off, I think Dennis has played, increasingly well before he got cut. But I would also rate Lowell higher than Sticko.
Would you rate Lowell higher than Sunny? Would you rate Lowell higher than Sunny?
Not Lowell, but not 2 for 2. Exactly. But then you do the then you cheat a bit and you do the lineup with Sunny and Dennis, right? So then for me, that was a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure if it was kind of a package thing or it's familiarity for some of the other guys. If Sticko's played a lot with Oscar, in previous teams, those kind of things, is that's what comes into it?
Perhaps played a part in that discussion as well. I mean, he's coached
been coming to mouzeport for quite a while. Like it's before the Quaco Major, I believe mouzeport wanted to pick up Sticko, but it couldn't be done back then because of contracts and internal stuff. So he's been on the radar for quite some time. I think mouzeport have had the more, I would say, like clever approach to this, where FaZe they just went for the raw skill. They went for Guardian, like one of the best players in the world. If not, still can be. Olaf Meister was the best player in the world, whereas mouzeport went for Sticko, who's known to be a smart player. He like makes great plays, and he's a good team player. And I think that mouz, like as you said, like sort of like the mini FaZe team, but this time they tried to be a bit more clever about it and actually like gamble or assemble 5 players who can actually fill out roles in the team and then do great things together.
Well, from mini FaZe to the real FaZe, they were indeed phased in their first game as well. Phased out quickly on Nuke by none other than the Ninjas in Pajamas. It was a rather tough one for FaZe fans to watch as they really struggled to make a single impact on that map. There was a discussion on the desk, though, that was not only slow starts, Chad, but also the map really did hinder them. The Veto perhaps losing them some heart of the battle already.
Yeah, FaZes weren't set to stun in that match, were they? There we go, we got another one in there. But I don't think, a map like that, especially for the likes of Guardian in Na'Vi days, he wouldn't have been playing a lot of Nuke. The Vacation Nuke were the 2 main bans for that squad, so for him it's unfamiliar ground. Obviously they had done some work on it. You could see the set smokes, they knew what they were doing in certain plays, but you need to kind of feel your way into those things. Olaf as well, in Fnatic days, it's not like he was playing a lot of Nuke either, to be completely honest with it. So it just feels like a weird map to leave in the pool, all things considered, going up against an NIP. Obviously you want to avoid the Caches of the world, because that's all that we know that they can play at the moment. Maybe move away from Inferno, another map that's very execute heavy. But all in all, just a very perplexing decision with the maps, considering how we have a 7-map pool and you're banning to 1. And scared to some degree on that CT side. When they did go aggressive, we saw them having success, and this is something that has hampered this team in the past, especially with Karrigan as an in-game leader. We saw it at Cologne when they went out against SK, I believe it was. They just looked super scared in that overpass matchup, and they weren't actually taking the risks, which is what we want FaZe to do, because we know every single player on this team can turn around on its head.
I mean, including Rain, someone that we do sometimes find ourselves just forgetting to talk about just because of the titans he shares.
You don't remember a Rain flick.
Yeah, you don't. They just happen all the time. A player that I think a lot of people will praise for consistency, and we have already actually done that on this desk. But rounding out this roster, everything makes sense in terms of roles. I think that's something that people were struggling with. Actually, you're looking at me funny.
I don't know if everything does make sense in terms of roles, because you have so many playmakers.
Throw this one towards you and let you talk about it.
Think about all the playmakers you have in this team. You have Nico, you have Guardian, you have Olaf. Rain, to some regard, can be a playmaker himself. Karrigan is an entry in-game leader. Those are all players who like going in first and taking advantage of timings and spacings to get kills and open up rounds. Now pushing them into roles is the most difficult thing to do. Obviously, Guardian, the main AWPer, but do you want him to be tame? Do you want him to be less aggressive than, say, what you have with Arlo, which
is Guardian known for his aggression?
He can do both. I think Guardian is a full package AWPer, right? He can literally do everything you need. Then that forces Rain into more of a rock position, which is what Keo was doing before. So then now you have your kind of entry pack as the Olafs of the world. Nico, who obviously likes to do things on his own, he needs his own space. So how are you going to bring that together? And then Karrigan, to round it all out, does he hamper his own gameplay?
But I think that's where the key of Rain really comes in, and that's why, again, he's not going to be the standout star in this team, not because of a lack of skill, but because he isn't necessarily as flashy. He's going to become more of that next kind of a player for FaZe than anything else, and I think that's really what makes this lineup kind of work. Otherwise, if it had been a different player than Rain, just of equal skill in terms of individual prowess, I could have seen this going horribly, because at that point it's just like Karrigan literally has to be the water boy, who does everything, and that just you can't spread Kerrigan out enough on the map to actually make that happen.
Did we catch the map? I was too busy
Yes,
blabbermouthing.
so Mirage. But what's interesting is that mousesports managed to navigate it into a way where the options were Nuke and Mirage.
Okay, so they're obviously not going for Nuke.
Yeah, so they kind of, mousesports have navigated into a way where they kind of knew where this map was going.
They beat them online in Pro League. FaZe beat mouz online in Pro League on Mirage, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so we've seen
Cash.
it before.
Was it Cash?
Okay.
Wasn't it Cash?
Well, one of them went to overtime.
Yeah.
One of them went to
I will
overtime.
tell you right now. Hang on.
And it was 16-13 on the other one. I think they played Cash and Cobble.
It was
No, not Cobble, not Cobble.
Cash and Mirage.
Not Cobble.
It was Mirage and Cash. We saw a 16-14 in favor of FaZe on Mirage,
There
and we
you go.
said a 69 on Cash. There we go.
Yeah,
We're both
oh,
right.
God,
Yes. We got there in the end. Roundabout way.
Yeah, you know, and like you mentioned, it's getting late.
And the thing is with this, right, like you kind of take that online matchup with a grain of salt because both rosters are in their infancy at that point of that matchup. I think this is just a game where the game plan of LMBT has to shine for mousesports, and then on the other side of things, not the game plan for FaZe. It has to be the individual stars actually waking up and doing what they need to do and playing with some big balls.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, long story short, when we do navigate towards predictions, Jacob, I'm going to give you kind of the floor for this one. Just, you know the map. You know what we've seen from the teams already. Admittedly, you know, we didn't get to watch Mouse's game, but it was a convincing loss versus Gambit. With all of that kind of combined, and with as much of a kind of a take the rose tinted glasses off for a second after our FaZe wall of predictions. What do you make of this battle for survival?
I would still favor FaZe, actually even bigger now, seeing it's Mirage. FaZe, and especially Kerrigan has been notoriously known for being like the master of Mirage, you know. They've been playing so well on Mirage, and especially the style when they had Kiyoshima and when they had Alu, like it was aggressive, especially on CT side. And I think like FaZe knows that they started out poorly on Nuke against NIP, and they know they're not facing another NIP now. They face mousesports, you know, who's like trying to find their identity. You know, this roster move with Stico and removing Dennis for that matter. Like that's a more like clever move. That's like trying to make an identity out of the team, and that's not there yet, you know. Yeah. Whereas NIP have the identity with Threat and with the other players gone for them for quite some time. So I think it's gonna be a FaZe, and I think we're gonna see FaZe in full force now, and they're gonna burst out, you know, and they're gonna show back that was just a mistake, you know, from there, and then that tournament is not over.
And it's something that I do really admire as well, is that I've been saying it for like as many desks as I can remember, and recently about Olof, is just that when his back's against the wall, it is so unbelievably clear. It's not even like a cliche or just like, oh, it's all feelings. It's actually, when the pressure is on, Olof does play better. And now you can't ask for more pressure than this. One map and your new team, your first opportunity offline with them, could come tumbling down. I think we're going to see a very different Olof Meister tearing up that server alongside the other huge names.
Actually, can you tell me this off the bat? Because I didn't get to see the online games they play versus mousesports, but where does Olof Meister play on Mirage?
Great question.
Great
question. Later stages of that Fnatic stint, he played B-Apps Mirage, which is definitely not his thing.
Pretty sure it was on the B stream. I could be wrong. Could be just absolutely ruining myself right here. I was hosting that week of Pro League. So
okay, you had other responsibilities.
Hosts don't watch the game.
They don't watch the game.
Yeah, that's
those
true.
playing at home, the hosts don't watch. What they do is they sit and they play on Nintendo.
Games, yeah.
No, but I don't recall. There was a lot of games of Counter-Strike that week, but it was very dynamic in the way they approached it. A lot of people were picking up the AWPs, and they were very dynamic in that sense.
Yeah.
Even, was it Kerrigan as well? Because that's something that he has been known to do on Mirage. He likes to pick it up.
You think about it, they have 4 players now who all love, who all could be secondary AWPers on that team. And you also have both players who are most well known for having injuries in CSGO.
True.
I didn't even think of that.
All right, guys, it has to be quick.
I can be quick.
You bring
I
that
need
up
those
as like a
predictions.
highlight.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Give us a name.
I'm going to go with mousesports. I think Oscar's Playground is the old Miragi, so I'm going to go with them.
Oscar vs Guardian. That's another fun one to look out for on the server. And finally, Halvor?
I kind of have to side with FaZe. I think they're a better team overall.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why they should lose, but in the past, they've had struggles with mousesports particularly, and I think Oscar is the kind of player who can ruin their day. But I kind of have to hope for that the FaZe are actually going to find themselves and they're actually going to play towards their potential, because it was looking pretty decent in the couple of online games they've had so far.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on board. I think the FaZe fight is going to be rather scary this time. We're going to be seeing them really backs against the wall, see what happens when they're on the ropes, and I think they're going to be really come out swinging here onto Mirage. So another FaZe for me, as this trophy is getting closer and closer to our grasp. 2 out of 5 so far, everyone. Good job.
We're all tied up.
We are all tied up for that trophy. And over in the casting desk as well, we have the ever lovely Anders and Moses. I'm not doing anything funny this time, boys. No funny business, because this is serious. This is serious. FaZe, a team that couldn't stop getting to playoffs, could be eliminated by mousesports.
I feel like Chad's feeling real comfortable after that Renegades win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's riding a high, isn't he?
He's gone all in this time.
Yeah, he has.
None of you hanging out with him? None of you hanging out with the Sponge Corner?
I'll hang out with Sponge.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You're going to go for mousesports?
Yeah.
My God.
I feel more confident if I get Anders on my side here.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick FaZe.
Okay. Yeah. Oscar versus Guardian, you're going to have so much fun. Olofmeister against the ropes. I think there's nothing more needs to be said. I just want to hear you boys shout your lungs out and enjoy some Counter-Strike.
Well, do our very best, Alex, indeed. Yes, I did. This is going to be sort of slightly crazy. We've been swapping formats so much in Counter-Strike, right? The Swiss format came into play. Now we've got this again, and it's just really brutal. Like, there's there's not many mistakes you can make.
The nice thing is that it brings back the old 0-2 barbecue meme. We can now get back on board with that.
That's true.
Yeah, love that.
Not bad.
It is, but it actually ensures it's. I guess it's two different camps, right? Like, would you rather have the winners, like the better technically quote unquote matches, just be BO1s? Now we have them as BO3s, or would you like teams to get more chances at playing as they get eliminated? So I mean, I guess you can just come from two different angles. There's no real set format in Counter-Strike at the moment that I think is perfect. I don't think there ever will be.
Probably not. I mean, it is a trade-off, right? And there's obviously also there's a sort of physical limitation at the end where you need time to do it.
Time comes for us all.
And I mean, obviously people have been talking a lot about this, but in Dota, where they sometimes have the double elimination format, right? It's just that it takes so long to unravel, right?
Well, I mentioned this as well a couple times. Remember those like old ESEA championships we used to have like back in like 2013, I think early 2014, that were like 8-team double eliminations, BO3 brackets. Those were long weekends and days, weren't they?
And there's a question as well about whether or not you're not just going to get almost the same result. Like that's the problem, as well as if these sort of GSL type formats yield a similar result to what a double elimination group would. I mean, it'd be interesting to find out if that's true. But if it is, then there's not really much point in spending even more time.
Right. Well, I mean, onto the game itself, actually, and talking about these teams. The big thing that we saw on Nuke was it felt like, obviously, a good map for NIP, but FaZe didn't seem quite too comfortable with it. So, I mean, obviously, that's going to be a map pool issue with the new lineup that just takes time, especially considering they've admitted that they want to focus on all the maps at once. So they're going for that broader, we're going to be good on all maps, but not great on any one map necessarily. But also, something that they can do on Mirage that Nuke doesn't have is plenty of space here for players to make their own decisions, and to make some kind of a play on the FaZe side of things. Plenty of ways to spread out, plenty of ways to manipulate rotations on this map where you're not kind of locked in by the confines of just how Nuke is laid out as a map.
What is your reasoning for picking mouse sports, other than just sort of wanting to socialize with Chad?
With Chad?
Which is a good reason. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad reason. I'm just saying.
I would say I lost a little bit of confidence after that Nuke game, where FaZe just seemed like even like the most basic stuff seemed kind of a little bit of a struggle. We saw a lot of miscommunications on some of those bomb site hits on the CT side of things.
Yeah.
But also, I think Oscar's been playing great. I have a lot of confidence in Rops as a young player. I think he's sick, and Sunny was extremely impressive. Despite all the talent and all the all-star players and all the world-class players on the FaZe side of things, I think Mouse Sports has a lot of players that are just on the rise in terms of their momentum and confidence as individuals.
Yeah, those are good points.
You didn't think I could do that? You were trying to trap me.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be a funny moment where I could say something sarcastic, but no, that just makes sense. I was pretty sold on what Pimp was saying about Karrigan and this particular map. Like for one thing, I feel like Karrigan actually just plays individually better on this map, but it's true as well from a tactical point of view. His teams have always been doing really well on Mirage, so I like that. I think that's a solid point. I just
but then they also raised, which I also thought was a good point, is that when you have this much playmaking ability on your team, how much is actually left for Karrigan to say, okay, by the way, on Mirage, I'm going to be another X factor for us just because I'm always very, very good individually on this map. So I think there's going to be a lot of question marks about this FaZe team moving forward. I was one of the people who cautiously optimistic about this FaZe roster when it all came together. I really liked the Guardian pickup. I thought the Olaf one is, debatable on whether, that would have been like a net positive or minus. But, if they make it work, it's going to be so glorious. It's like one of those things where you almost you just want to see them make it work because it would just be so intense.
Yeah, even for one tournament, right? If it all sort of just combines at the right time, could be really interesting. I've had this issue with all the FaZe lineups pretty much. I've always thought like, well, at any one point, if you have 3 or more stars on your team, I always worry that you're going to have a series of games where only 2 out of 3 will show up, or maybe sometimes even just 1 out of 3, and then it's really weird. Then it doesn't really seem to be worth it. So But some of the previous FaZe lineups have proven that that's not true.
Well, so, just the most recent one.
Yeah.
The one before that certainly proved that to be true. In fact, your theory there is probably born from that previous one where they had like Rain, Jacob,
yeah. But in the beginning of that lineup, even I think it was better, right? Like that's when I thought, okay, actually maybe this could be really fun. But it does seem like it's hard to get everyone the space that they need to work with. And the solution for sort of FaZe clan as a whole seems to be, when it isn't working, we're gonna shuffle out the rosters, right? We're gonna find new players, which is
I think it was just a shock, right, with how quickly it came out, because they'd done so good like most of the year, and then just after like 2 events, it was gone. So either way, the mousesports team though is always an interesting one, because remember, like with I think they're kind of a similar situation as FaZe was, where you can probably look at these roster changes and say yes, they're an upgrade, but did you really need to make them?
Yeah, was it? That team, strictly speaking, yeah.
Yeah, because that team was starting to look good. We had some dangerous series, some dangerous games where they did some upsets. So,
and then now we have just to in case people haven't been keeping up, obviously Optic is now a third sort of one of these projects.
Right.
I think it's wild. It's true. There was a point in time where everyone would have said, in Counter-Strike, you sort of need all 5 nationalities to be the same on a team, or more or less, right? You need a common language factor, otherwise it's going to be impossible. But
it'd been tried so many times in the past, and it felt like there was only like one real success story, and that was like all the way back in like 2004, 2005 with NOA. That's like a long time ago to like put stock in that. But I think it's just a natural progression of now we have a lot of good players that are just left without a home.
Yeah, well, we are going to head into the game now. The final one of the day, mousesports versus FaZe here. Day 1 of DreamHack Masters Malmö 2017, and it's mousesports versus FaZe. It's going to be FaZe on the CT side and mousesports on the T side, and already trying to peek into middle and control that are FaZe, trying to see if they could find an opening, but it looks like it's going to be over at the B bomb side. There's going to be a bit of action. Olofmeister and Nico, Carrigan and Rain, everybody chiming in. Well, that happened so quick.
Yeah, that's the strength of this FaZe team. Look at that, 4 kills across 4 players. That's quite nice. Guardian still looking for his first. He might just go hunt it down for the team ace, but that was supposed to be a fake for mousesports. They wanted some success on Catwalk. They wanted some success in those B holes, and unfortunately FaZe just deletes him, but the whole bomb was planned to go towards the A site. So try to throw him for a little bit of a ruse, but that never works if you just get deleted. 4 players just get dropped with 4 bullets.
Yeah, I feel like in some ways it's, you obviously want to win the pistol round, but if you lose it in this fashion on your mousesport, you almost have to shrug and say, well, we never even got to actually do anything, so let's just move on,
Yeah, that's not a hard pistol round to swallow by any means. Yeah, it's just focus forward. Now you have the decals out, try and get some economic damage. See a Tech 9, which we haven't seen a whole lot of today. Actually, I can't even recall a Tech 9 kill, at least in the games we've casted.
It's very true.
I don't remember the last time I could say that.
Yeah, it used to be so popular. A lot of grenades raining in for just a loose round like this one. Big commitment for mousesports. Rain going to be picking off Chris J, and a second kill as well. And look at that. Hiding in the corner is Nico for a great double kill, saving his teammate as well.
Yes, that's quite nice, and even just looks away at the wrong moment, the timing, but he recovers perfectly. So mousesports, a lot of investment. They don't even get a plant. They only get 1 kill. So in the end, that's a net loss. Not worth it whatsoever for the mousesports side, but a good idea. I know you always like to see, just with the strength of these pistols, some kind of nade setup, nade support to an execution, just to see what happens.
And I'd say that odds are in your favor that you at least get the bomb plant with that kind of execute normally. Yep. But they just got completely blocked and shot down.
A lot of that is because of the pistols, right? Because of how powerful they are. I know a lot of teams sometimes choose to play outside the bomb site and do a little bit of a retake. That time there was 2 members of FaZe inside the site. This should be a cleanup, but they're going to get the bomb plant.
Oh, wow. That's a big win.
So the round that they don't use the nades, they get the bomb plant.
I think it's because they hit Rain in the face right as he was defending, so he couldn't really challenge it all the way. But that's interesting.
Had to get a little passive, a little bit scared of being taken down. Either way, 3-0. That's a quick 3 rounds to start this match, this elimination match here at DreamHack Masters. And now mousesports, we have the AWP on Oscar, we have the AWP on Guardian. That's going to be a really cool duel to keep track of throughout all of this, because, Oscar is such a dynamic opper, so much fun to watch. Same with Guardian when he gets in that mood.
Yeah, seems like teams are having a hard time controlling Oscar when he's really hitting the peak of his performance. But not Rain, ducks in. That's the 8th kill for Rain, and no deaths at all. So
Jesus.
Yeah, he's had a fun 3 rounds
start
here.
To the game. Yeah, Kerrigan with the SMG pushing up close as well behind the smoke, so gaining a lot of information. That might have been a little bit of a read from maybe playing mouse sports and knowing that Oscar likes to be aggressive, you know, with that AWP towards A ramp, because the pre-nade in isn't so unusual, but not smoking it, not molotoving it, giving him the space, and then Rain just posted up waiting for it. It also helps that Guardian got aggressive into Palace. So has all the intel that he's not going to be pressured, and Nico's, this could be the end of the round over the smoke, and he gets one. He is traded, though.
It's a very important refrag for Sunny. Otherwise, I think you're right, it would have been the end of the round if Nico could have got out of there, but at least there's a slight chance here. Smoke goes off to put some pressure on the AWPer there. Guardian not getting the shot, but challenging him for very long is always dangerous. And Rain hitting another headshot. Rob's going to come in, but he's going to be saved for a minute there. Rain was up in the ticket booth, could have gone down. Instead, he
looking
is...
for it. There it is.
Yeah, 9-1-0 right now for Rain.
That's never a good sign either. Nico as well with 7 kills.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that can catch fire pretty quickly.
I mean, this is why this project, this FaZe project, is so crazy. You say that about almost anyone, maybe with the exception of Kerrigan. We don't maybe expect like him to be the star of the team, but everybody else, you know, just how do you keep 4 people under control at once? I forget
who tweeted. I want to say it was like Happy from Envy after a game that FaZe played online in the opening week of Pro League. Where he just said, you know, if FaZe can make this style work, like they have like the highest peak, like it's just going to be insanity if all these players come together to hit like a good level.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Olofmeister flashing in just to try and put some pressure on the middle, but they will have picked up the AWP and they're going to go for a boost. This is nice from mouz sports. I like this. They don't seem scared. They've lost 4 rounds in a row, but just still taking the fight to FaZe here. If they could have caught Olof on short, that would have been fun. They're a man up, and they've got plenty of time.
Especially because FaZe was very aggressive for very early on in the round. So they have this AWP for quite some time, just now passing the 1-minute mark in the round. They can toy with this, and look at how spread out this defense is. Kerrigan in window, Rain on the ticket booth. Kerrigan spotted one out going towards B. Olofmeister's alone here, so they're all going to converge, and even Rain's coming over as well. This is a very early cheat towards the B bomb site off of a minimal read.
Kerrigan goes down, he peaks just at the wrong time. Oscar coming in with a 3rd kill, taking down Olofmeister. And Rain 1 versus 3 to try and get up to 12-0 as the scoreline. That's just a really big ask at this point in time. He does have the defuse kit, and maybe he's going to want to fight this. If he can get the 1 opening, that just might be enough. He's managed to sneak all the way in, checking towards the bench, and not seeing Sunny, and now instead he's in trouble. Sunny will take him down, and mouz sports winning an unlikely round.
Yeah, stealing that AWP, but I mean, it's unlikely, but it's well-deserved. Punishing the mistakes from FaZe early on in the round. That's a peak that probably doesn't need to occur, and then grabbing the AWP, and Oscar just does all the work from there. Great shots with the AWP, baiting and trading his teammates perfectly. Gets him their first round, and Rain still goes for that at the end, even in a 1-on-3, because they just had so much money. Rain was at 10,000, a couple players at 8,000, so now switching into the double op setup. And you're right, and so is the desk. It is Kerrigan, who's done very well on this map with an AWP in the past. He's going to be the secondary operator amongst guys like Olof, against guys like Nico, who have done it for their teams in the past. Great kill from Nico to slow down the bomb. Can't really get away, so he's just got to keep fighting in that smoke. That's unfortunate. He's going to be frustrated.
Yeah, gets caught by the wall then. That was a bit unfortunate. So now just a 4-on-4. I think mouz sports at the end of the day are going to be quite happy about that.
Yes, yeah, I mean, that could have been so much more dangerous, especially if that smoke had properly blocked off his retreat. Look at this decision from Rain, though. Re-aggressive towards A-ramp, no nades whatsoever. Rob says the angle, but it seems like he looked away or lost a little bit of focus, didn't react whatsoever.
Leaves them a man down. Back in T-spawn is where they're at with 55 seconds. Guardian and Rain, I think, are going to be hard to get out of this bomb site. They have 2 smokes on mouz sports, but how do you take care of Rain here? Even if you throw a Molotov into Shadow, which is not uncommon, it's going to be hard to get it exactly on him.
Yeah, he's got a great position. If he can just play a little bit confident. The X factor, though, is going to be Sticko coming from Palace. What can he do? And how aggressive does Guardian want to get over this smoke?
So if Rain jumps or something, maybe his face is going to stick through the panel there. I think we've seen that in the past. That could be a bit of a worry. Guardian now put under pressure behind the triple box, and he's going to get taken down from Sticko, as you said. Coming in for the Palace. Rain drops the bomb on 1. There's 15 seconds left, and it's a 2-on-2 here. Oscar picking up the bomb in 10 seconds, trying to put it down, and no one there to stop him. Could have been maybe some pressure applied there from Olofmeister in CT spawn, but oh, what a grenade. Sticko, Here's they're going to be ringing all the way into the next round. And now Oscar defending that palm he put down 1 versus 2. And they should figure out where he is really quickly here. They don't have any grenades to get rid of him, though. So he might have a very clear shot, and maybe he could save this round. He's done remarkably already. He's got the line up. Here's the bomb being tapped. Takes down Olofmeister. And now Kerrigan coming in for the shot. He shoulder peeks him, and Oscar to take him down for the triple. What a remarkable round. Once again, Oscar at 7 kills, just saving mousesports at the moment.
Right, that's so beautiful as well. The individual, the 1-on-2, getting Olaf and then the shoulder peek, obviously, to bait out the shot. Just so well done. Kerrigan couldn't hold his poise, but using the op almost like an entry on that hit towards the A site. So really, really well done, and that's 2 in a row. There's still going to be money on the FaZe side of things. They were so far built up, but this is the last time. This is the last buy they've got. UMP on Kerrigan. He's also got a kit. Nades are running low. What does mousesports decide to do? Because they have no presence over towards the A bomb site except for Rops and Palace, but Rain's already cleared out a ramp just a little bit with a pop flash.
We should probably point out that was the weakness of the defense over at A, is that really Rain couldn't help out Guardian. Like, once he got locked down behind that triple box, Rain was just sort of stuck on the box and couldn't do anything to help out his teammate.
Well, and Stico did the perfect thing, right? Like, yeah. That's what you're designed to do from that Palace position, especially in that late round of a scenario. You have to take the risk towards, towards jungle, towards stairs. You have to just say, I hope this is the timing where he doesn't peek me if he's there, or he's just not there whatsoever, and you have to eliminate Guardian from that position. That helps out so much. It's worth it to sacrifice that in the 1-for-1 trade. Oscar now, right over this smoke. It seemed like he had the lineup, but just narrowly misses.
Very close, very hard to have that fight through the smoke, because you're almost just spotting a bit of movement and hoping that you get the shot through. Not easy. 40 seconds. This looks like a more confusing round for mousesports. It looks like they're gravitating towards the B bomb side, and as they take down Nico, it actually could be done. That's probably going to keep Olofmeister closer towards the middle and Kerrigan alone.
Yeah, this could be dangerous. It's all on Olaf and how he decides to rotate. Can Kerrigan get anything done? Olaf's going to be here in time, but Kerrigan's going to have to contend with at least 1, and he can't do anything. Immediate headshot. There's the M4, dealing damage but not finding kills, and now this B bomb site, I believe it's lost. Olaf somehow gets away. Guardian's here with the op, but they've got to put some work in quick. Very few nades for the retake and no kits on the board.
Guardian needs this shot. If he doesn't get it right away, then there's really no point in pressuring this any longer. Rain is sort of posturing towards the kitchen window, just actually going all the way in. That's a big commitment in this particular point in time. mousesports are dug in pretty deep on this bomb site, and finding all 4 players won't be easy. Rain, though, he gets 1. They lose Guardian, and Olaf is going to be going down again. mousesports bring it back, and you just see that 1 kill on Nico in the connector is enough. That leaves Kerrigan alone with the UMP.
Right, and it's also, I mean, to be a little bit critical of him, but it's an unnecessary peek after you've already got the man advantage. You're the one who found it from connector. No need for you to go back to that. They're going to be zoned in on that position. No need to get re-aggressive and give up the equalizer, and that's exactly what happens. So small mistake there, but it leads to pay big dividends, because now they finally broken FaZe's economy. 3 Deagles out on the board, but nothing else, no nades. It's going to be all down to individual aim, and there goes one of the Deagles. Olaf, I don't even think he got a shot off.
Yeah, there's a good spray control from Chris. That's what we like to see. Sunny also reading the economic situation very well and picking up a Mac 10 just to go hunting.
And this is kind of the conversation that a lot of analysts talked about on the desk and just in general about this FaZe lineup, is when you have these players and you allow them to play so loose where they get to make their own decisions because they're the star players. That's where you get some of these over peaking and over aggressiveness and overextension. The Nico follow up in there on that previous round, but then also you go to the round where Nico peaked window right after Guardian got killed there, and they were able to salvage the op that Oscar wins them in that anti-eco. I mean, those are the kind of peaks you don't really need to do, but those are the kind of plays that star players sometimes make.
And I want to ask a follow-up question to that line of thinking, but it might be after this one. Nico getting Sunny and now trying to hide in shadow, shooting through that panel. It does almost 100% damage when you shoot through that one. He does get the kill on Chris, and finally they get to take him down. Took long enough for mousesports here, leaves it in a 3-on-3. They still obviously have the advantage, but they've got to be careful they don't lose anyone else. And Kerrigan with a stunning headshot, taking down Stico. Now it gets just a bit uncomfortable here for the mousesports team. They're going to get 1. Rob's following up with Rain, and Guardian here, USP in hand. The smoke is clearing out, and now he's at 14 health. This should be pretty easy. As long as they double peek him, there's going to be no trouble at all. And there's Oscar taking him down for the triple. Again, Oscar just doing so much of the work here. It's really remarkable. No, so I feel like having the strength that FaZe has with the individual play is just better suited for playing T side. So you almost need like two different versions of this team. Like one that's more regimented, where maybe Karrigan does more of the work on CT side, like, you know, leading these troops and making sure people don't do anything silly. And then T side, I would say, let them play more loose. Right.
I mean, the tough part is, I mean, you can't exactly make those. So when you come up with something on the CT side with players like this, you can come up with all the different setups, how you rotate, you can do all the theory crafting behind it. Like, where are you going to go if you lose this player? How are we going to show up this gap in the defense if we lose someone there? But the one thing you can't like really pre-plan as an in-game leader is an individual's decision-making, right? You can't, you know, plan that someone's not going to peek, that Nico's not going to go back to connector for a second peek, that Olaf Meister's not going to peek off catwalk. You can't plan those things, and that's kind of when you talk about the roles and, like, you know, who's going to play that more supportive role, who's going to get a little bit more passive. This is why you can't have too many playmakers, because they're all trying to make that peak, that they're all trying to get that kill that makes you win that specific round. But you can't always do those plays and peaks if it's not the appropriate thing. That's like the risk reward of that secondary peak. And as an in-game leader, you can't micromanage players to that degree.
Yeah, and I guess the best way that I could sort of think about it is that if you make a play for your team on the CT side and it fails, it feels like the impact is so much greater than if you do it on the T side. Like, obviously, it sucks if you're playing 4v5 T side, but you can sort of shrug and say, well,
we can still hit this bomb site and have a 4-on-2 or something.
Yeah, we can still make that work, right?
Whereas, on the CT side, it causes a whole host of rotations and reactions that pull your teammates out of position. So yeah, it is a little bit dicier.
And especially if the rest of your team has a sort of, a set of personalities that say, well, now I feel really inspired to make this, up. Like, now we're 4v5. I'm really gonna take a risk, So it could almost be sort of a landslide of maybe bad mistakes. I would focus a lot on the CT side, but I think this is a general trend. I actually think most teams now are, I would say right now in sort of late stage 2017, it's like there's been a huge descent of the overall CT level for all teams. I feel like maybe there's also like people that become better on the T side and better at managing the economy, and this T economy is so much stronger and everything. But I do feel like the CT level in general has been worse.
I've had a lot of roster changes this year among the top teams. I think that's a big thing, because the CT sides are a lot about communication, a lot about the plans you have set up. It's a lot about rotating to the right spots and everything like that. And usually, I've talked about this for a while. Normally, like the lower tier teams and new teams usually just flat out do better on T sides, because it is a little bit easier to say, all right, nothing's working, let's just group up and hit this. But if nothing's working on your CT side, like, there's no real good answer at all times, because you still have so much of the map you have to cover as a defense.
There isn't a rush B version of playing CT side.
No, there's not. That's a really succinct way of putting it.
Yeah, and I mean, so some of the rosters that have been together for a long time, I guess we can't really bring up Virtus Pro given their performance today. But
well, we've always set Virtus Pro in like a world of their own, right?
Yeah,
so, like, oh, you guys are over here.
But if you have some of those sort of combos that have been playing together for a long time and making that work, I guess we used to refer to it as the Fnatic hive mind, which was just like a shorthand for saying you need less communication, because you've been playing with, the people who play around your position, you've been playing with for so long that you sort of have a pretty good instinctual feeling for how they're going to react to almost all situations. And that's just so valuable. But that takes time. And you're right, if you keep swapping out the rosters and bringing in new players, maybe you never built that.
No, but I mean, even to touch on that and to bring it full circle, I guess.
Yes.
Was even the Fnatic team where we talked about that hive mind, right? Of just knowing when you're in the position to make the play based on where your teammates are and what they're doing. Even that Fnatic lineup had a Crims, who was like the stable, like rock fundamental player, right?
Sensible one.
And I think, the one who was just like, all right, you guys all do the crazy stuff. I'll sit back and just kind of mop it up or fix the pieces.
Yeah.
The question, I guess, for this FaZe team would be like, who's the Crim? Who's going to be the Crims in that kind of a scenario?
Yeah, I don't know, because I guess
it'd have to be Rain.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Rain and Karrigan to some extent, but maybe with less fragging power, obviously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, probably those two. I think Nico's can be sort of sensible, but I don't know how. This is the part of the game that's obviously very hard to analyze, which is how do you like, what happens to Nico's personality when he plays with Olaf Meister and Guardian? Like, we just don't know yet if he's going to get carried away and they're just going to be, running all over the place, or if he can also be, because I do think having 3 players that play crazy Counter-Strike is maybe too much.
Yeah, probably. I think it's going to change and like evolve as more time comes into this team, obviously. Just because, I mean, remember, these guys have only been actually like, you know, they've been practicing together for probably, you know, an extra week before the lineup was announced, but still early going. I mean, this is kind of like the testing ground for a lot of these teams, right? I don't think it's until, like, you know, even for like Cloud9, I don't even really necessarily excited to see how they do at this event, but it's not going to be like the barometer on where their final peak could be. I think like around like the timing of New York is like a good time period to start to judge how these roster changes are all playing out.
I think we're almost ready to resume the game. Just a quick PC restart for whatever reason.
Yeah, could have been many things.
Could have been many things.
Says it's working now though, so that's always good.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. And again, if you are just joining us, then you're just in time. The scoreline is tied at 4-4. Strangely, FaZe winning the first 4 rounds in a row, then Mousesports winning 4 rounds in a row. So
off the back of Oscar.
Off the back of Oscar, you're absolutely right, doing most of the work. On the other team is Nico and Rain sort of really stepping in, and then there's a huge drop-off after that.
Yeah. It's Rain at 13, it's Nico at 12, and then it's 3 each for Olaf and Kerrigan, and 2 for Guardian, who's spent a couple rounds without the AWP, but he's back on it now at 2 and 5.
Not always easy if you're Guardian to find out where to use that AWP.
Am I seeing this right? I don't know if they've like medicked yet. I don't know if I missed that, but there's a double op on the T side.
Yeah, it could be.
Oscar and Sunny.
We'll see once they get the full reset in if that's going to be true or not.
Things are getting wild on this day 1 of DreamHack Masters, Anders.
Yes, they are. I can hardly believe it. And it's obviously only going to get crazier from here on out.
Yeah.
Renegade's playing well, Nip playing well.
I think it's
Pro out.
It's all BO3s from here on out after this, isn't it? It's all series play.
Yes. You're very true, very true. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think that's exciting. Semler used to point out a lot that one of the difficulties of AWPing, if you're Guardian or anybody really on CT side, is just the fact that that window is off limits because it's going to get smoked almost immediately.
Right.
Connector towards A bomb side is probably also going to be off limits. There's going to be Molotov or another smoke or something like that. So what do you do if you're Guardian? Like, where would you go with the AWP to try and have an impact if you're not just going to be waiting in CT spawn or something silly?
Yes, I mean, there's plenty of options on this map, right? Like earlier on in the half, we saw him actually peek the A apartments, A Palace, very early on in the round and kind of grab that control and chill there and make sure no one was coming, and then fell away. I think we saw earlier it was Fallen who was opting down A ramp. We're starting to see that a little bit more prominently.
Yeah.
And obviously you can do the position where you get a little bit like half aggressive over towards B halls, get that angle towards the top of the stairs, and you can just kind of hold that and have all that information as well. There's plenty of perches, but yeah, mid control for the Terra side has become so mechanical and just so like, you know, these are the 3 smokes you throw. This is when you refresh it for like maximum control of mid. And speaking of which, they're not going to have maximum control of mid because we have a lot of aggression out of the FaZe side of things. We saw this from Nico earlier, couldn't get away, but now he's baiting for Olaf, who's hiding behind the lip of that wall.
Wow. And they had Guardian there just to make sure that if there was 3-man push to top mid, then they could take that fight as well. Oscar, very aggressive on this side with the AWP, not worried at all that anyone was going to be there close.
I don't think there's a lot of AWPers who would have been that aggressive as Oscar was, and obviously they have a lot of faith in him to do it, to throw some kind of a fake, get 1 kill, and then open up, because this is going to be a fake towards the bomb site, and now it's over. Mousesports has to hit this now. They have no one else anywhere on the map. They just have to go for it and see what happens.
And right now, FaZe should be reading that. Sunny goes down to Guardian as well, so 5 versus 3. And it's looking very questionable here for the Mousesports side. Bit of a timeout, and now that they're back in it, they need to get that bomb plant quick. That shot almost taken out. Stico, Guardian through the smoke, dropping 1. And then the second kill comes in, taking out Robs. Well then, Guardian jumping from 2 kills straight up to 5. That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah, beautiful rotation from Guardian, getting into the action as well. The spam through the smoke, a little bit fortunate, but the follow-ups are all great. And this is what happens if you don't have Guardian properly blocked off. That smoke comes in a little bit late. I'm not sure if that was miscommunication, but that little half-assed peek from Palace isn't going to do anything against Guardian, is it? He's loving that.
Oscar with the hero AWP. That is very interesting. We'll see if it's going to pay off or not. He obviously had quite a bit of money. Robs as well actually has a pretty big bank. If anyone could do it, it probably would be Oscar here. He's doing a great job so far, but again, same position, Nico winning it.
Yeah, and he was even waiting for that. I mean, knowledge of how he got eliminated the last time they had that duel. This is where, nice shot from Guardian, but he does get dinked. That's where myself as like a Counter-Strike theory purist, I'm just like, please don't peek that in the 5-on-4.
Yeah, you saw that he would peek it, die, then drop the AWP out the window, and
or I mean that's exactly how it happened in the eco round they won, right? Is they boosted and Oscar got the AWP after killing Guardian in window with the peek. So obviously Guardian playing with a short memory here.
It's very dangerous. Mousesports have already proven once you're right that you give them even an inch and they're going to take the whole mile. Guardian and Rain up at the A-bomb site, Nico as well towards jungle, so it's going to be a really mean crossfire here to try and break if you're Mousesports walking in, and they've already lost Chris J. That should put an end to the round here.
Yeah, no one peeking from the A-bomb site, so that AWP is pretty much useless. Guardian grabs the angle eventually. He's down to 5 HP. Got to be a little bit careful. Either way, Stico's the only one left, and Guardian no reason to peek from there, and Rain's just going to eliminate him. So 6-4. FaZe back to their winning ways with a pair of rounds right in a row. They're building up plenty of cash once again. They didn't lose anyone that round, and the previous round they didn't lose anyone either. So 2 rounds of not losing a single player is going to balloon the economy on the CT side of things. And now we're getting a timeout from the Mousesports side. They want to talk things over.
Yeah, I think that's a really good time to be having it here. Just a bit of a cooldown for them. They don't quite have the money. I guess technically if they wanted to, they could go for something exciting here where they have just a couple of AKs and maybe grenades for the rest. But since the Tech9 nerf, you know, maybe it's less likely. We're also playing on Mirage where you have to run for a long time to get close to any CT players.
Yes, you do, unless you have perfect smokes and flashes. And the tough part is, you know, we saw a round where they tried to just do an execute with rifles towards the A-bomb site, and they just got slaughtered by Guardian, just, you know, playing a retake. Either way, they had money to drop in Oscar and AWP, and they have an AK and Chris, and I think the rest of them are just going to half buy.
Yeah, they're really into this. Sonny's the new there we go.
Okay, no, they're pretty much fully invested in this now as they kind of straggle in the buy.
And actually, Sonny, to get that AK, had to skip on head armor, so that's very risky playing on the T side. We'll see how it plays out here. They are going to try and fight for it. Olofmeister jumping down into the underpass. He misses the chance, and Stico going to take him down. Chris winning the fight against Guardian, and suddenly it's falling apart for FaZe. They're getting wrecked in this round. Chris running into the bomb site, getting a triple.
Good lord, that was brutal. That was very fast-paced. That's a highly aggressive strategy from FaZe. Olaf is the one who dropped out of window. He was playing in mid. He had an AWP. Guardian peeking from window. He had an AWP, so both ops kind of covering up mid. Got absolutely nothing done, and at that point, Mousesports, they just pick up the pace. They get those 2 kills, and they just go for it, and no one from FaZe is really ready for that kind of aggression. So double ops on the T side again. Chris J, the in-game leader, has one of his own. Oscar obviously has the other, getting spammed down to 32. And there's the nade to take him out. Nice work from FaZe.
Rob's right on the other side. Nico turning around. He's worried that there's going to be a flashbang coming through. This is the moment of tension. If he gets this kill, Nico, that just might be it. A couple of shots raining through, but on the other side, Robs is going to be running away. That could have been the round right then and there.
It could have been. There's a heavy presence over at the A-bomb site as well. Nico and Olaf both playing right around the balcony. Guardian's there for a quick rotate with the AWP. And even though Mousesports, I mean, I guess they have mid control with a player down, but still can't really do anything from it. So they're going to rotate away, bringing the bomb back towards the A site. And FaZe doesn't really have to do anything to worry about. They see no action. No one's being pressured over towards the B site. No reason to cheat anyone over. So it's just standard stuff from here. Guardian again going to be blocked off, which could isolate Olaf. That's the big. That's what Mousesports is hoping here for this execute.
Yeah, but they can't isolate Nico, can they? They only have 2 smokes, so I think either way there's going to be someone there to help out Olaf. He's actually fallen quite a bit back now instead, and Guardian flash goes in once. He's going to be able to take down Robs, and things are looking very bad for Mousesports right now. They're committed to this. They can't really fall back, and Stico comes in with a kill, but Chris is going to be going down. Flick attempted. And Stico's doing more damage, taking out Nico. Sonny dropping Rain. It's all over the place now.
Yeah, Rain a little bit over-aggressive. That puts Guardian low HP. You see, he wants to do something, but he just can't. It's all on Kerrigan. He's got to rotate around, spam for it. He can see the leg. Can he hit the shot? He tags him, and there's Kerrigan, but the bomb's gone down. Stico in a 1-on-2, and he's got a chance.
But this would be one hell of a time to clutch it. A steal for Mousesports if it happens. Stico already fighting his way out of the apartments. Now it's just 2 players left, and they don't know he's in sandwich. They think he's hiding somewhere else. He's going to take down Guardian, and now right on top of him, Kerrigan comes charging in, falling off. He sees the shadow, and Kerrigan going to be able to win the fight just barely. That could have been it.
Yeah, smart reposition. He almost has that just a half second away. Maybe a little bit more of Kerrigan is exposed. It seemed like he didn't have the perfect information on where he was. But a nice win from FaZe. That time, mousesports, I thought they would, like you said, they only had 2 smokes. And then, you know, I thought they would have just blocked off Guardian over towards Ticket Booth. They obviously don't know he's there, but you can make that assumption that if there's an op towards that A bomb site, it's going to be there. They chose to go for top stairs and towards jungle. Doesn't pan out for him too well. Well, these are some traded back and forth rounds, so mousesports still looking pretty good with 5 on the board. That plant's going to help out. Still plenty of money to get the weaponry they need.
And there's a sort of a weird lopsidedness to the FaZe scoreboard here with Nico and Rain at 15 and 16 kills, and then Kerrigan and Olofmeister at 5 and 3. Olofmeister at 3 kills.
Tough part is it feels like Olof, I mean, to defend him a little bit here, it feels like he hasn't had a whole lot of action go his way on some of these gun rounds, right? It's either been like mid control. I mean, yes, he's contested mid with the AWP. He's dropped down with Nico 1 round, but a lot of these hits towards the A bomb site have been handled pretty well by FaZe. He hasn't had to do a whole lot towards the B bomb site, and when he has, it's been a pretty disadvantaged situation.
Seems like that happens a lot on Mirage. If you're playing certain positions, you just...
Oh, the B player is just a life of stress.
Yeah, you're always either too late to the A bomb site or you're taking on a whole rush to the B.
It's one of those spots where it feels like you never get any action. You don't like ever feel like you know, you can't, it's tough to get into the groove that way, and then you just have to be ready for the all-out hit at the B bomb site, right?
I love this setup in middle. 2 people turned around in case there was going to be flashbangs on the ramp waiting. And then Guardian was the one spotting for it. Now they've given it up for a moment, and they're going to put up a little bit of pressure onto top mid.
Here's the tough part, is that, you know, Nico
they're going to go for the boost?
Nico hasn't seen anything over towards A. They have 3 players over towards the B bomb site, and mousesports has given up all control except for the B halls.
Oh, Oscar, I think he can smoke all the way towards Nico from that position. No, he's going to put it in instead, different direction. Very interesting. We'll see if they can hold this on. Smoke's raining in, and look at how much trouble Guardian is in. Trying to find an angle. Almost everywhere is smoked off, but they're going to bring the bomb back instead. This is a huge risk at 40 seconds. This could get very bad for mousesports if they get discovered throughout this push. Chris still hiding inside the smoke, trying to make himself bigger than he is right now, just keeping the presence on the bomb side. Kerrigan takes Chris down, and now they should realize, FaZe, there's no one else coming.
It might not matter if Rain can distract just enough. That Molotov forces him away. They have to go here. There goes Olofmeister. He gets deleted, but Nico's still waiting. Rain just has to distract a small amount. There's the kill from him. Now Nico pounces. He's going to get the bomb planter as soon as it goes down. mousesports, not enough is done by Chris J lurking over towards B. He needed at least 1 kill to keep Rain on the B side of the map, and they don't get it. An interesting idea, and I don't mind it. It kind of looks a little bit silly because they use all their utility at the B bomb site and then they go back towards A, but they knew as soon as that Molotov goes out that they've been stopped. You know, they knew the mid pressure was there. They spotted one pushing towards top of mid, so they knew there was going to be backup on catwalk, and they just knew there was no success to be found at the B site.
It was a good job on FaZe not over-rotating, because once you see Chris jump out of the window, it could be an easy mistake to make, just thinking, oh, there's probably going to be more. Maybe I didn't see the second guy or the first guy or whatever. So, yeah, I thought that was well done. 14th round is coming up here. 3 Deagles, Scout, then a Tech-9.
Going back to this mid-pressure, wasn't spotted the last time until late in the round, and this time they just go all out. There's Olofmeister getting into it. Couple easy kills, get yourself a little bit higher on the scoreboard, feel a little bit more confident.
Ooh, Sunny. Very nearly missing a chance, but you're right. Even eco-frag is just going to help out just a bit. It's looking like a 9th round here for FaZe. So even though it's been up and down, and it looked scary when they'd lost those 4 rounds in a row early on in the half, now I'd say it's a pretty even game.
Yes. Although it is, I mean, you have to say, great half from mousesports, even just with the 5 at the moment. I mean, if they can get 6, that'd be phenomenal. But losing pistol round and still getting those 5 rounds off the back of a lot of Oscar's impact, double kills in critical rounds to make sure FaZe has to be low economy. But FaZe 3 rounds in a row now. They've won 5 of the past 6. So it seems like they've recovered quite nice, but it's all down to this. Last round, mousesports at 6 would be just so happy with this half.
Not at all impossible here. Bit of a shame that Oscar can't pick up the AWP, because you're right, he's been very aggressive with it. Nico, speaking of aggression, pushing up into the apartments, but instead it's Sunny opening up with Guardian right at the edge of the smoke. Not necessarily an easy shot to hit, but Nico comes back with a kill on Chris. So traded evenly. Robs, oh, he's pushing out right against Nico. He's got no chance. Instead, it's Oscar coming in from the jungle, taking down one, and is returned by olofmeister. So a completely chaotic round here, and now we're in a 2-on-3. This
would be great if FaZe could hold on to this losing Guardian, trying to force the issue in Winter Room and gets eliminated. That kind of destroyed the mid defense. No one else had eyes on it. That's why you see Nico get so caught off guard by them rushing up connector. Either way, still coming out in a 3 versus 2, and now just playing it so passively.
Rain doesn't want to give anything away. Waiting for the sound of the bomb plant. He's already heard it, and he's still not going to be peeking. Waiting for a teammate to come in. He shows a bit of a shoulder. The bomb is down. Stico taking down Rain. Should be a follow-up here, but olofmeister's going to go down as well. It's Stico once again, and trying to wallbang the box. Kerrigan is in so much trouble. Trying to get up the stairs. He could put out a Molotov. At least that will clear out the corner. There's no one there, though. And they have such good crossfire here. mousesports just might get that 6th round. Kerrigan getting shot in the back, and Sunny will win it for them for a 6-9 finish in the first half.
Yes, great job by Stico, getting aggressive towards CT spawn, finding Rain before Olof was in a great position to trade that kill. Really nicely done from mousesports that round. Pushing the envelope when they had the chance, getting up connector, making sure they put pressure onto that A bomb site. FaZe, I thought that round would have been more firmly in Mouse's favor, and to their credit, they made it close. But like I said, great half from mousesports.
It's kind of wild. Out of the 9 rounds that FaZe won, there's one of them where they have 1 guy left, and otherwise it's almost all 4 or 5. So the rounds that they win really heavily, and I think that's important because if it had been different in some of those 9 rounds of FaZe had been down to sort of more 2v2s, it would have been, I think it would have been a lot more saving coming out of the CT side.
Yeah, less ops. We saw them really favor the AWPs quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, massively important as well. But also, I mean, you could say that could have been a much bigger half from FaZe, if not for the blunder in that first anti-eco, where Nico and Guardian go down in window room. Some of those over-peaking allowed Oscar to get that up and have that impact. But I think that's kind of the crazy thing. If you look back at that first half from mousesports, it felt like Oscar had a much bigger half than he actually did on the scoreboard just because of the impact his kills had.
In this second round, you see Rain picking up a Molotov. What does that tell you, Moses? What is your mind sort of spring to?
That springs towards either clearing out, a position at the A bomb site if they go for that hit, or for the bomb late in the round to stop the defuse.
They've put down 2 smokes already, and then they're running the other way. So this is just a huge fake coming out of FaZe. This is some in-depth stuff. We're going to need to see almost a full replay of this round. I love these kind of rounds, especially in the pistol. They've put Kerrigan as well jumping into window. I think they're hoping for a rotation from mousesports, and it's not happening.
They'd love one, because they have 3 players in perfect position to punish a rotation from pretty much anywhere on the map. If, Catwalk, olofmeister's guarding it, window room, Kerrigan's there. Towards the A-bomb site, towards connector, Guardian's there. He's already gooshed down Sunny to 19 HP. The question is for FaZe, you have all these players in great position, but where do you go from here? You have to get them all together at some point to hit a bomb site. There's the Molotov from Rain. Not entirely sure where it's gone. Towards the B bomb site, obviously.
This is crazy. Nico's now up in the apartments with the bomb. Kerrigan's going to go down to Sunny. Robs is very low, and Rain is going to be able to take him down, but it's still all a distraction. Stico with 1 kill, and Sunny finally goes down. Oscar out in the middle on the bomb site, and he's about to get shot in the back. Indeed, Nico with near-perfect timing. So weirdly, it works out for FaZe in the end. At least they should get a bomb down here.
Oh, olofmeister's going to get aggressive towards window room, wants to clear it out. Oh, he brings Chris J so low. That's the kit as well, going for more, and he gets dropped. 1-on-2 for Nico.
Oh, I wouldn't have a problem putting my money on Nico in this particular round. He's going to get 1 kill, sees the next, and a bit afraid to challenge Stico. Wants to play for the time instead, and you can't really blame him for it either. Stico's managed to pick up the defuse kit and the smoke, and now he's defusing inside of it. Nico not quite sure. 1 second left, and Stico plays it perfectly. What a wonderful round for him, and gets the kill at the end as well. You can't ask for more than that out of 1 player, can you?
No, you really can't. But I mean, even on a team effort, mousesports in that situation for so long, not rotating, playing so passively across the map, not falling for the trap that FaZe set up. Because that was actually very cool. When you think about it, that's the kind of tactic that you think this is going to lend itself to FaZe with all these players, all this talent, is use Kerrigan's tactics and strategies and ideas to get them into those positions, and then you have to rely on their individual decision-making from there. And what we eventually saw when they went for a bomb site was a lot of them saying, this is where I want to take my fight, and it almost pans out for them.
And it's kind of crazy. A smoke goes up in window, smoke goes up top connector, and then nobody from Mouse Sports moves to check any of those positions. I mean, that's what they really wanted, FaZe. They're thinking, surely in a pistol round, someone's going to come look.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? That takes some fortitude on the side of Mouse Sports, so props to them for staying so collected, so calm. Even at the end, I mean, a little unfortunate for Nico that the kit and the smoke are both salvaged right at the end. My big confusion about that round for FaZe is the Molotov from Rain didn't seem like it had a whole plan. This nade is going to do a lot. Kerrigan down low, Guardian just above half HP.
Yeah, that's very nice. Just soften up, make sure they can't do too much. Nico, though, again, he's very good at taking that connection fight on both sides, it seems.
He loves it, doesn't he? His deagle's so disgusting as well.
Yeah, he's made himself famous on the back of it. Guardian will be going down next, so it seems like Mouse Sports are recovering the situation somewhat here. Oscar on 1 health. They don't have anything to throw at him, so as long as he stays hidden, should be just fine. Feed gonna steal the kill at the end. And Mouse Sports now recovering very nicely. 9-8 is the scoreline. They're just 1 round away.
And it's going to be a contended round. FaZe going to buy up into this with the plant, even with some of the deagles bought out. But 4 AK-47s, why not? Let the players get out in the open and take some duels. The ops aren't on the field yet for the Mouse Sports side of things. Oscar's got a scout. There are 4 smokes on the T side, so they can do an execution. It looks like that might be the thing. It looks like that's kind of what they're going for. Rain towards the B bomb site, going to go down underpass and perhaps be a little bit of a lurk. But here's the danger. Mouse Sports is clearing out mid. Oscar's pushed all the way to top mid with that scout. Chris J's there as well, watching underpass. They've got to pull these players back towards the A bomb site for Rain to be effective.
They are doing a good job of that so far. Still got plenty of time here for FaZe to set up. They've got 2 more smokes if they need them on Kerrigan and Guardian.
That's a big win for Rain, but I think FaZe throwing those smokes, they want to re-execute. They wanted to get all the counter flashes and counter Molotovs out of the way, and they've done a good job of that.
Yeah, Robs might start to feel a bit nervous here from us. Close range. He's actually going to win the fight against Nico and takes down Kerrigan. More than you could have asked for. Olofmeister finally going to be able to take him down, but lethal play coming out of Robs there. That double kill just might have done it for Mouse Sports. There's Oscar getting a headshot. Not sure he even needed that on Olofmeister, but it'll do the job just fine here. Rain in connector trying to see if he can snipe off somebody. Instead, Guardian landing nothing but headshots. And that leaves Oscar in a very uncomfortable position. Could have been the end, that grenade, but still alive.
Only 14 HP as well. Great round from Rain with this flank. Flashbang is out. There's the scout shot. It's a tag. So he's got a chance, but he can't get hit again. It's so tough for him.
Goes down to Rain. I mean, to me that looked like, as soon as he got the double kill Robs, it looked like that was going to be the round for Mouse Sports. Instead, FaZe turn it around, make it 10-8.
This is what they see in this guy. Like, the ability to get the double kill, that kill onto Kerrigan is huge. He pulls him back into this round because it was on the verge of being lost. If he only gets 1 there, that round is much more firmly in FaZe's favor. That kill from Rain in middle is huge. And even coming up, I mean, even if Guardian doesn't get those kills, he's getting 1 more. Now the op is out for Oscar, and Rain is feeling it really early on in this round.
That's a good sign for the Mouse Sports team. Maybe something that they're going to have to rely upon, as they did in the first half. So on CT side, might be even more useful.
Those are the kills, though, that like feel so preventable in mid, right? Just because we know about all these smokes that you can use in mid. You can use that basic catwalk smoke. You can smoke off window room. I don't know if one was missed or someone didn't throw it or what might have happened, but Rain just jumping out and just kind of running the gauntlet gets punished at least this time.
And the following setup for Mouse Sports is fairly uneventful, but it's what we like to see. Just no one's taking any risks. There's no chance for FaZe to get any kind of smart duels against anyone here. Robs, I love this off angle from Robs that he's holding on the A-bomb side as well. It's always hard to spot.
Yeah, that can be brutal. I mean, the one thing that you would say Mouse Sports don't have with this kind of a setup is any kind of information what's going next. But the proper theory is, since you have a man advantage, you don't really need to cheat anyone anyways. You don't need that information as much.
Smokes raining in all over the place, and Robs, a bit worried that someone is going to be jumping on top of him there, trying to see if he could spot out the player, but Olofmeister takes him down, and now looking a bit more questionable. Only 25 seconds left, but the bomb will be going down, and it's a 4-on-3 as Chris gets a bullet to the face again. Guardian with the AK-47 just doing so much work, and mousesports now struggling to get back into the bomb side. They're all on the same side. There's no one coming from CT spawn. That's not always a good idea. It's very predictable what's happening here. FaZe should be able to close in on it, and Guardian looking for more, getting another headshot. He sees the third player, and that's the end of the round. FaZe surviving with 4 members and getting up to 11 rounds. Yeah, great post plan as well. They had the perfect positions. They had that, like, you know, it's always, you want to set up a triangle in that A bomb site after the post plants. And Olaf and CT spawn, Guardian where he was on the mountain boxes. It's just so tough to flush these players out. The crazy thing is, these past 2 rounds, the impact has come from Guardian with the AK-47. We know him for his AWPing. But I mean, he is one of the operators historically known to be one of the operators who can handle a rifle much better. He's not just, you know, lost if he doesn't have the AWP like some other operators are. Yeah, that's very valuable, obviously, but now that he's got it back, he's still hitting shots, and even though he's up against pistols only, this is definitely not bad. It's about to be a 4-round gap here, unless mousesports could find something crazy. Robs is trying it, but the USP versus AK fight is never really a fair one, is it? No, it's not a lot of fun to be in that kind of a duel. Just trying to be a little bit clever, a little bit sneaky, but FaZe has everything covered. I think this would signal them grabbing pretty firm hold of the match, I think, going up 12-8 at this stage. Now, we saw an adjustment from the FaZe side when they were on the CT side in terms of playing more aggressively, right? We saw the double push into underpass. We saw even, I think, 2 or 3 pushing top mid. Yep. There's a lot of stuff like that going on. So do you want to see more of that out of mousesports, or...? I think they're going to start to need to, because even in that 5-on-4 where they had the opening pick and they gave it up, I mentioned they didn't have any information. You know, I think if you're going to give FaZe that much room to execute at times, that's a little bit too much if you're going to give it to him for the entirety of a half, right? That can work sometimes. It obviously didn't work earlier, but if you give them, you know, the next 4 or 5 rounds of getting whatever they wanted, that's where this is going to get dangerous. If you give these players plenty of room on the map to work with to get into good positions. So you'd hope, the question always is for a CT team is, what's your economy like? Is it worth risking your economy to do a play like that? Do you have the AWP? Do you have the utility? Because you don't have an Op on Oscar this round. You have a FAMAS on Stico, but you want to do it with the M4s on a round that's so incredibly valuable in the context of the match. Do you have the balls to do it? The big balls, as Chad was saying during the analyst segment. I appreciated that. I mean, I would say, since you have so few grenades on the CT side, there's no chance at all that this round is going to go down to 15 seconds and then you've cleverly saved 1 Molotov or a smoke and you know that that whole game is already gone. So yeah, I would say probably eventually you're going to have to make some sort of decision, because any second now you're out of grenades, and FaZe will realize that when 20 seconds pass by and nothing's happening, right? I think they're almost put themselves in a position to do it, because they have Chris J and Sunny both playing on catwalk. One's kind of in ladder room. Sunny actually is right now at the moment, but that's a position where even if you don't want to start the round out with the aggression, in the mid round you could find some timing to pounce. Now Rops is the only one with the flashbang, so he could throw it over mid if that was the goal they were going for, but it looks like it's just going to be much of the same. Just kind of a little bit of a standard, a switch up to keep some mid control. A lot of pressure towards the A bomb site though, a little bit of a fake, a little bit of a ruse, and Nico's not going to pressure it. He's just going to fall away. Rain charging in, and Olofmeister clearing out the middle from the other side. Chris has to win this fight if they want any chance of holding the bomb site, but Sunny gonna be there. Perfect time to save his teammate. And now this whole B adventure might just not work out. Guardian will get the 1 kill, and now they're gonna bring the bomb back with 30 seconds. Olofmeister winning the fight against Robs with the MAC-10. Oscar looking oh, that could have been dangerous, but he's gonna take care of Nico, and is he realizing there's a secondary player coming? There's only 20 seconds left, and Oscar gonna get shot down. Olofmeister again doing the work. Now 15 seconds, and Sunny and Stico are left. Stico taking a bit of fire damage. Sunny goes down. 11 seconds here, and Stico, can he stop the bomb? He can't, and he goes down to Guardian. Another triple here for the Slovakian player. He has suddenly come alive in this game. Yeah, so has Olaf, at least for that 1 round. I mean, that's the danger of this team if you're gonna give him this kind of space. The pressure on the B bomb site from FaZe pulls a little bit of those catwalk players, pulls their attention. Chris J eventually gets eliminated, but that's given the space for Olaf to get into connector, as we know he used to do in Fnatic. He used to love these kind of plays, and just push in and get aggressive at the right moment to punish a rotation, to punish a player who's just a little bit slightly out of position. And that's going to be the danger of this FaZe squad going forward for their opponents. 13-8, and mousesports The economy just not looking good. It's a beautiful headshot from Stiko, but pushing middle like this. Quite a few people waiting on the other side. Guardian, though, actually missing a shot, but the backup is there. And eventually they're going to close it all out. Robs, I think Nico actually heard him right at the beginning of the round running there, so they might know.
Yeah, they might have a little bit. Yeah, regardless, I mean, that's... FaZe was always going to shore this one up, so I mean, 14-8 is going to be the... That's nice. He really is starting to feel it, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's not good news, obviously, for mousesports.
No, if you want to make a comeback, you don't want that. Rain's still playing well, 23 and 21 for Rain and Nico. So obviously they haven't dropped off whatsoever, just playing consistent. Now Guardian heated up, so that's the trifecta of Doom right there.
Yeah, any team in the world just would not want to see that on the scoreboard. No matter who you are playing against this team, that's bad news. And even worse news is that this is an elimination match, so lose this and you're out. olofmeister gets a shot on Chris. Sunny there to return it. Still a couple of people lingering in the smoke right on top, and the timing is going to be there for Rain. Works out just fine. Takes down Sunny.
Yeah, great trading, and now Guardian again has this position peering towards Catwalk with the AWP, and Nico's going to be the one to take down Stiko. 4-on-2, and mousesports has to rotate in a position. They might just want to give this one up. They have the nades to make it work, but they only have one player now. That happened quick. No kits as well. And this is so important for Oscar to keep this AWP, but there's no way FaZe lets him get away. They know where he is exactly. Plenty of time left on this bomb. Hunt him down, get the AWP out of his hands.
Oh man, this is no fun at all, is it, if you're Oscar? They don't quite see him yet. He's going to try and go back out. He doesn't want to fire the AWP because he knows there are going to be 4 people waiting for him. In fact, he's managed to sneak his way back into kitchen if he had a defuse kit. Oh, it's not going to be enough time anyway. I wanted for that to be true. Could you imagine if he ninja'd his way back in?
That would be so great, wouldn't it?
There's a timeline somewhere. Another iteration of the simulation.
What tournament was that where we had like the craziest ninjas on Mirage?
There's been a couple of them in the past, right?
One was at E-League, one was in Katowice, I think.
Maybe, yeah. Flusher was, I think, in charge of one of them, where he just walked back on the A-bomb side and used the bomb in front of
Crim's had a big one, like a 1 versus 5.
Snacks, I think, has had a couple as well. Yeah, it's a good map for that. Well, Robson and Sunny starting off great here in the 24th round. Guardian returning on 1, but Robs again with the FAMAS, picking up the AK, trying to spray it home, but Carrigan had the advantage of actually being able to see anything, and now it's a 2-on-3.
Little bit of an uppercut attempt out of FaZe, just trying to catch him off guard with an A-rush through the smoke. Doesn't pan out. Nice positioning from Rops for 2 kills. Plenty of time, though, to work their way around the map. The one danger point is the fact that the bomb is dropped at the A-bomb site by those first boxes. But this is all on Carrigan. Guardian's just going to stay here, make sure no one can get aggressive. And Carrigan is trying to do the most unlikely thing that mousesports would think of, and that's obviously go towards the B bomb site, rotate all the way through CT spawn. The question becomes, is mousesports going to think to look here? Because they're going to have clocks, right, where there's no pressure. They're going to have those internal clocks that tell them something's up. Someone's trying to flank. Someone's getting in a weird position. Are they going to think it's CT spawn?
Yeah, it feels like because he ran with the knife out, it's less likely. Like they're going to maybe be off by a couple of seconds, but you could see Stiko's already feeling slightly paranoid towards the connector. One Molotov coming in. Would have been nice if someone had been towards Sandwich. Maybe Carrigan can open it up, but yeah, this is actually smart. He has to get more than 1 kill, and did he just get spotted? Yeah, Stiko's realized. So Carrigan trying to get everything in the round, and instead they're going to end up losing it 9-15 here.
It's all right. Had to go for something desperate.
Yeah.
A little unfortunate the timing of that peak towards top connector. 15-9, mousesports hanging on still. The tough part is there's so much money in the FaZe side of things. Like, Carrigan had $10,000 before he bought.
It's hard to do anything about that. They've taken a tactical timeout here on FaZe, so... You said they tried for the uppercut, just, you know, breaking through the smoke on A-bomb site. So do you want to do more of that? Or... it seems like your standard play has been working out really well.
Yeah, I mean... it's a cool idea, right? You don't need to do it. Obviously, you don't need to stick to it. That's not a strategy that you can theoretically do round after round after round, and eventually it'll work. But they've won so many rounds in a row here. They've won 6 in a row before losing that one. So what they've been doing is great. I would say go back to get some mid control, get the old like olofmeister and connector, get olofmeister pushed up on catwalk and ladder room or something, put him in a spot where he can make a play, let Guardian have the freedom. His AWP has really come alive. You've got a lot of different win conditions if you're FaZe at the moment.
Well, mid control already. Smokes and Molotov towards that connector, always making life difficult if you're on the CT side, and the bomb is dropped far back. So for the moment, FaZe are content to just wait around. They've got Olof on one side, making sure there's no crazy pushes. Nico up in the apartments. They've got pretty much everything covered, but speaking of crazy pushes, oh, wow. Chris and Stico, they were feeling it, you know?
Yeah, they were. Well, that's one of those plays, right? We were wondering if they were going to have the balls to do something like that, and they obviously do. It just doesn't pan out for them this round. Huge, huge win. The cool thing, though, is Chris J, not willing to give it up. He follows it up with he continues to push just in case, and it looked like FaZe was going to go back towards him. But they've readjusted. This is going to be a deadly split towards the A bomb site. Sonny needs to come alive. He needs a double kill here.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. If he goes down, then there's no chance at all. Chris will get the headshot on Guardian. Maybe there's still a slight chance here. mouzsport holding on to the tournament lives right now. If they lose this round, that's it. They're going to be out of DreamHack. Rob's waiting towards the ticket booth, and he could hear the bomb going down, but he can't really punish it. They are in a 3-on-3. They're going to improvise the boost, looking on top of it. This is something that we don't see nearly enough, but they don't get the angle this time, and here's the dangerous part. olofmeister has the Molotov, and they can't cancel it out. They don't have any smoke, so this 3-on-3 heavily favoring FaZe at the moment. Carrigan with a headshot, taking down Chris, and now it's Oscar and Robs. Let's see what they could do. Oscar somehow getting that flick onto Carrigan and taking him down, but they need the defuse, attempting it once. olofmeister, he goes down. Oscar again, and now Nico. There's almost no time for this defuse. He comes in, he gets the one, and tries to fall back, and I think Oscar is practically out of time. He picks up the kit, he's gonna get the shot, turns around, but it's gonna be the end of the road. 16-9 as FaZe take out mouzsport and continue on.
That's the phase that we didn't see on Nuke. That phase where the individual players are making smart decisions with the way they're rotating, making smart decisions with the plays they want to make. Also, I mean, even towards in the first half, it was a little bit sketchy on the CT side, but that T side was great from them, I thought. I mean, the decision as well in that last round from Nico, knowing he had the time to go all the way around towards Catwalk, never going to expect Olof to go down in that position, then Nico to follow it up. Good stuff, and unfortunately, mouzsports, they joined Virtus Pro in the 0-2 barbecue.
Yes, indeed. I like that. We should keep doing that.
That's great.
It is good. I mean, I think you mentioned it sort of halfway through the second half, just how difficult it is when any one of the players that's sort of scattered over the map when they're on the T side there, well, like if you ignore anyone, you miss any one of them, suddenly that's a triple kill. That just happens, you know, like Olof does it, Guardian does it, just keeps coming.
And those are when, not even necessarily the volume of kills, like, yeah, those are all players who are going to get 2 or 3 kills pretty frequently, but it's the impact, right? It's like Olof sneaking up connector and getting that 1 kill in jungle. That's the guy that really like secures the middle of your map and keeps it safe for players to rotate between the 2 bomb sites. So no matter what bomb site you're hitting, if someone's going to be that aggressive and make that play, if he gets a kill off of it, it's so dangerous. You have to be so cautious when you rotate, so it just buys time, and you still have to clear him out of the spot.
It's got to feel good for FaZe making their way through, at least for now. Still more to come, obviously. But we do have Sue ready with Carrigan, so let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations, Carrigan. It's always a very tough position to be in and a lot of pressure to be on the verge of elimination with just 2 best-of-1. So because of that, was the team feeling extra nervous at all?
I don't think we're nervous at all. The problem is we don't know our map pool. We don't know how we deal with different things on LAN. And there was a lot of different communication issues against NIP and Nuke. And everybody who plays Nuke knows Nuke is one of the most chaotic maps. So maybe that was a strange veto, but in the end we decided to play Mirage instead of Nuke this time. Just to have 2 different maps. If we would have lost Nuke again, it could have been a fatal loss for us.
And Carrigan, I've spoken to you so many times as you've gone through a lot of roster changes. With this particular roster, I know that to HLTV you said you're feeling really optimistic about it. How has everyone been adjusting to their specific roles, and how has it been for you?
Of course, we looked into opportunities getting Olof and Guardian, and we all know that what they did in the previous career. And I hope to like kind of activate some of that. Of course, we cannot activate all players in our team. That's how it is. But I think they bring a lot to the table, experience. They bring a lot of motivation as well, optimism, and they're just ready to take the roles I tell them to take. And then we see down the line how it's going to end. Is Olof going to play this position? Is Guardian going to play this position? We just take one map at a time, one term at a time, and see where we land in 3-4 months, because that's always the time you need for a team really to get into the feeling.
And speaking of optimism and motivation, would you say those were the biggest issues with the previous lineup? Because to us, we just saw a FaZe that reached 4 finals in a row and then a semifinal. So it was, you know, it's a big change. So what were the biggest issues?
It's kind of many things. I think in the end we had some internal differences and people looking from outside saying they have good results, only one bad result. We already had the talks in beginning of making this the roster with Nico, so there was kind of back and forth all the time. Of course, when you win, you don't want to change stuff, but I always had like this, if you keep winning, it's hard to change anything, and if you're still doing a lot of mistakes, you cannot fix them because people still think it works. So in the end, we lost fatally in Krakow, losing 0-3, and we couldn't even practice before Krakow because of the mood in the team, and everything was bad, and that's why we decided to swap 2 players to get a fresh start, the whole lineup, instead of, we could maybe switch 1 or yeah. So we decided to switch 2 to get 2 big players into our team.
Well, with this win here, you now have a day off tomorrow. You get to watch both NIP and Gambit play against each other and have that extra time to prepare. So who do you predict is going to win that match?
I think it's hard to predict. I mean, we only see 1 map on LAN with the new Gambit roster, and NIP play good on Nuke, but I don't know how they play on other maps, and it's kind of hard to say, but no matter who we face, I'm looking forward to finally playing a best of 3, since best of 1 is a little hard for your ass when it's sweaty.
Well, congratulations and best of luck on Friday. And with that, it'll be FaZe sending mouz Sports packing as they move on.
I love it. To me, that feels like Danish translation directly to English. It feels better for your ass, sweaty. Does that sound better? Actually, Pimp, you can tell us. Does that sound better in Danish?
It's like a phrase, sort of, yeah.
It is actually. Can you say it in Danish for everyone at home?
No.
Oh. Oh yeah, you don't like doing that. You don't like to treat us to his magical Danish magical Danish ways. And indeed,
I think it's rødgrød med fløde.
Oh yeah, that's the dessert.
Very close.
It's actually really hard to pronounce. For everyone at home, if you want to have a practice with Danish, there's a dessert in Denmark that's apparently impossible for us Westerners.
Anyone who isn't from Denmark.
Yeah. One more time.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's get into it. Analysis to be done. mouz Sports are added to the pile, the 0-2 barbecue, as Jason did dub it, and it is rather brutal. You have already met them, but it is, of course, Vendetta, Pimp, and Sponge to talk through this one. And to wrap up the day, day 1 in the books, FaZe survive. But not necessarily by the narrowest of margins. You actually had some faith in mouz, and for a time, us in agreement. We felt like you were about to be once again rubbing it in our face in it. Where was the praise being raised? Where are you going to level the praise towards the boys of mouz?
Oscar. He was getting a lot done, right? He got them their first round on the board, then he continued through that middle period of the first half. He was looking very, he was looking on fire early, which is what they needed, right? But then you could see the indecision starting to creep in. There was one round for me specifically in that first half. Rain and Olaf were both aggressive in middle, and it looked like the guys from mouz wanted to go for a B execute. They'd just waited out the round. They'd waited out probably about 45 seconds. Then Oscar had spotted the aggression in middle. From there, they still went with their B strategy, which was a fake. Now, for me, if I had spotted the middle aggression, I'm probably not going for a B fake because you know they have mid control. So as you have to rotate back through underpass, you're just going to get mowed down from the aggressive mid players, which is exactly what happened. The fake was so easy to read. They already had so many players on that B side, didn't have to rotate anyone. Nico was able to chill on the bomb site, and it's just maybe that's the bad mid-round call. Chris J, not an experienced in-game leader, or as experienced as we need, and that kind of stuff hampered mouz Sports.
Do you think that also that could be, again, it comes back to, being a dead horse, really, with the communication issues that international rosters might have. The fact that he's just simply not relayed correct information or the information he needs to actually make that kind of a...
Yeah, potentially, right? And I think like once you're invested and there's 30 seconds left in the round and you're still sticking with your strategy as opposed to dropping back to a different protocol based off of that, you're going to have a really rough time, right? Because it's like, well, we're all here, we're all set up, we may as well run the strat that LMBT told us to anyway, because if we don't, he's probably going to slap me on the back of the head. So at that point, you're just all in regardless, right? But you could see those little things creeping in. On the CT side, it was just all FaZe. They would, when FaZe with T side, just picking them off, having an easy time.
It was more a kind of, I guess, more as we would have expected a game with FaZe and with this roster of FaZe to go, I guess, Halvor. I mean, you saw individuals at play.
In many ways. CT side, obviously, it was Rain and Nico kind of getting them off to a good start, really. Once they managed to hold off, the small bit of charge that we saw from mouz Sports, really, able to close it out. And then, positive Tradest, obviously, we get to see Guardian again. He's been playing well in quite a few of their online games as well, but Olaf Meister got into the groove of things towards the end, too. So everybody got in on the fun at some point, which is nice to see.
Jacob, what did you make of the casters' kind of thoughts where they were just kind of realizing that when you have a roster like this, if you miss your shot or if you have just a little bit of a whiff, they're going to not only kill one of you, they'll take all three of you. Like, you know, if there's just a little bit of a, you hesitate, a small error, and it's going to be extra punished when you have 5 players like that.
Definitely a thing when you face a team like FaZe, right? But it's not something you think about when you play. But it's like, and we saw this game, and I think like the map allowed us to see it now. Like Nuke is not a map where the aggression is like Nuke is a difficult map to play when you play a team like NIP, you know, whereas you face mousesports who are trying to maybe play a little bit like NIP, trying to get some structure in, but you can mess with it on Mirage. There's so much space, so much room to do stuff. Nico, we highlighted him before the game, like he can do whatever he wants to on Mirage and like peek out A apps, go up A slope. There's stuff to do on B apps as well, and in middle, of course. There's so many spaces where all these playmakers can actually release themselves, you know, and that's what Mirage offers for FaZe team, you know. So I was freedom, exactly. And so I was a little bit surprised that mouz allowed it, you know. But then again, as Sponge said, like Oscar and Mirage is pretty good cocktail in normally, and he did show up, and he was mainly the reason why mouz didn't have a chance in this game, right? So it's like mouz did what they could, but in the end, like FaZe is just this powerhouses of 5 players who can all like unleash themselves.
Well, perhaps while they are gathered around the table, having a couple of those cocktails tonight, mousesports realizing that they are not going to be continuing in the tournament, I think we can start just with a brief reflection of what we've learned. This has been very little. 2 maps, we've seen one of them. But if we want to just think about it, you know, brand new roster, first offline event, you play 2 games, you play against Gambit and you play against FaZe, and neither of them go your way. Chad, I think surely the only thing that they can really say, realistically, is we need more time. Is that going to be the...
Yeah, the building blocks are definitely there. You know, we've touched on that. The sad thing is mousesports were already on an upward trajectory before they made the changes with these 2 new players anyway. So the core of the team is going to be disappointed because they would have been feeling they were doing better before that. But it's a long-term project. You know, this is how you get to being a top team in the world. And if they stay on this course, and we even saw, you know, some clutch plays and smart plays coming out from Sticko, which is what we were discussing on the desk beforehand as well. So if everybody can click at the same time, you start getting Sunny and Rops more activated in the game alongside Oscar, who never really has too many issues. Chris J more and more experienced as an in-game leader. There's only positive things ahead for mousesports.
Absolutely. So keep your eyes on mousesports as this season and as this year both kind of start and come to a close, depending on where you see it. Either way, we have got a whole day to wrap up. If you just joined us, you've missed the party. DreamHack Masters Malmö Day 1 is in the books. We have to go ahead and get our head around these groups because teams have fallen. We've lost many big and small names along the way. Let's recap. We start with Group A. Hey, that rhymes. SK Boot. It was, of course, our first ever game to kick us to the Masters here in Sweden. It was a rather brief affair. 16-2. We got to see a bit more from on the B stream where North and Cloud9 did face. And if I throw this one over to you, Halvor, it does look like we didn't get to see anything from the guys from Singapore.
No,
like literally nothing.
Yeah, we got to see 4 rounds pretty much. Well, actually, we only got to see 2. They picked up. It's a rough one. But okay, so Chad, you can actually, you know, kind of.
No, here we go.
What are you doing here? I was gonna leave. I was gonna move to Group B.
Yeah, no, I was just like, well, Chad knows how this is when you finally make the crossover to international competition from playing, like being the dominant force in your own region, or actually just being one of the top dogs in your region, and then getting a taste at the highest level.
There's no experience from that, mate. That's all.
No. I'm not saying they learned anything from it. I'm just saying that it's a pretty rough step to take.
You hate your life a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But they will be here, and that's what's so good. Is that there's nothing will incite hunger more than sitting at an international CS event, and even if it's being in the crowd, seeing what those other players are doing. I mean, you see tweets from players all the time. I wish I could have been on that stage. Like the feeling of walking out to that stage, hearing the crowd, seeing your game in that way. Yeah, that's definitely going to drive them to go ahead and come back stronger next time. Outside of that, Group B, you do see Astralis have done what Astralis do best, a very quick early start versus Renegades, got them off the starting blocks. VP, however, it's a rather different tale. The 2 teams that clashed previously at DreamHack Masters Vegas have got very different experiences of it this time here in Malmö. 16-4 and a 16-7 sent Virtus Pro packing. We've kind of said everything that needs to be said about that one, Halvor, but I will throw Group C your way. I'll let you walk us through this one. Yeah, so Gambit started off with, well, their matchup versus mousesports, where we saw, you know, sadly pack up their bags today with a 16-6 win. I think that was on Train as well. So Gambit doing well for themselves, even with the loss of Zeus. That leads them in a winner game versus NIP, who we saw actually pretty handedly deal with FaZe on Nuke, which is a very impressive showing for the newly returned NIP. Yeah, and we haven't seen them too much in action compared to the other ones. Obviously, they missed out on the major. Their last tournament was DreamHack Valencia. Again, not the same kind of competition that we have at this tournament. So great to see them getting off to a good start, and it should make for a pretty fun best of 3, I think, NIP Gambit. Sure. That is going to be a big one. You have that to look forward to. Best of 3s are around the corner. I know Carrigan was wiping the sweat from his brow and his bum after that one. Excited to get into the best of 3s. 1614 versus Immortals and Fnatic. Now that was quite a brawl. Not the sexiest of Counter-Strike on Cobble.
It was a bit messy, you know, but in the end, I feel the better team got the win right there. Immortals were leading throughout the whole game, and Fnatic did show some glimpses of greatness, right? But they're still a new team, so they showed that they're here to stay, and they also ended up winning against Envious in the lower bracket. So they have a second chance in 2 days playing the decider match in a best of 3.
And we get Immortals G2, actually, which is quite exciting. You know, the Samurai versus the Centurion. It's going to be quite the battle for the ages.
Man, honestly, it's a bit of a, you know, it's an outlier, that group, when you consider how close all of the games were. And again, that's when it stings the most, the fact that it's best of ones, because you've fought really hard, you lose 16-13, 16-13, and that's where your day ends, or your tournament ends entirely. And then you look at another group, it's like, well, these guys just got smashed, and we're receiving the same fate, even though we, you know, probably put up a way better fight. So that's a tough pill to swallow for someone like Envious, especially because they had been on a very positive trajectory ever since they won Atlanta. I think Yanko mentioned it in the pre-show. They've pretty much been qualifying for everything they can qualify for, and just having players look like their old self.
It's been quite a project, this Envious project.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been kind of from the ashes.
Yeah, they kind of have to rise like a phoenix, and it's sad that we don't get to see them more as the tournament goes along, but we do have 3 remaining teams in that group that should make for some really, really top-notch Counter-Strike.
I think the exciting thing about tomorrow is that it's the winner matches and they're all bangers. Like, they're all going to be sick best of 3s. It's not best of 1s to get through. They're all games which, you know, we don't know how these teams with new lineups and rosters are going to be looking with these map pools, and best of 3s is where they're going to get tested, how much work have they actually been able to do, and they're all exciting games, and that's the best thing. You know, no one's going home, and we get to watch good Counter-Strike.
There you go. Chad has summarized it perfectly of what you have to look forward to tomorrow. And if you want some of that action, you want a piece of that action, you fancy taking a flight as well, tickets are still available for the weekend, and I can promise you, as someone that was there for Malmö last year, and my very first DreamHack, actually, my first experience, it was absolute blast. If you want to go ahead and hang out in the crowd, and maybe there is a Swedish presence on that crowd, nothing is louder than that arena, I promise you. Do be sure to check it out if you want to come ahead and join us on the weekend. With all of that said, though, please do join us tomorrow online. Go ahead, make yourself a cup of tea tomorrow morning and have a whole day of Counter-Strike with us. We're back in business. Yes, indeed, the holiday is over and DreamHack Masters has only just begun. With all of that said, one final thank you to our sponsors. Couldn't do this without them. It is, of course, Monster Energy, Asus ROG, and HyperX. Guys, thank you so much for watching. These are your highlights of day 1 for DreamHack Masters Malmö, and we are going to go ahead and say goodnight. After all of that, check out a little bit of what Snipe has to offer.